ladies and gentlemen, and again, a very warm welcome to Oracle OpenWorld Asia 2019. In this opening keynote, we are going to take a close look at the new and innovative technologies which are emerging from Oracle's development teams. We'll look not only at what these technologies are and what they do, but perhaps more importantly, how these technologies are being used, both in this region and across the globe, to deliver real business benefit. Now, there are many such technologies we can talk about. Internet of Things is delivering real value in the world of logistics. Blockchain is starting to prove its mettle in the world of global supply chain. Of course, we'll discuss cloud technology. Perhaps less emerging now and rapidly becoming mature, it remains the only way we can truly address the deluge of information that we face. We'll also discuss that technology which is forever young, artificial intelligence. It's been emerging for 3 decades. And yet, as some of you will have seen yesterday, and we'll see more today, when it's embedded into business applications and when it's embedded into data management applications, it too can provide us with real value in our organizations and our businesses. All of these technologies driving huge change in our lives. Every day we wake up, we do something differently. How we order the groceries, how we watch a movie, how we book a cab is changing every day. It's reshaping our lives, how we interact with one another. And it's disrupting not only our businesses, but entire industries. But you know that. We all know that. We know we're living in a world of disruption through technology. But the question on everybody's lips, from Singapore to San Francisco, is how can I harness that disruption? How can I understand and use that disruption and turn it to our advantage? Turn it to good. We'll ponder that question today and for many days into the future. But perhaps we'll begin answering that question by asking another one. Why is this happening now? Innovation is occurring at a greater speed than ever before. Now, I know that everything seems to be happening faster than ever before. The children seem to be growing up more quickly than ever before. Cars are going faster. That's just because we're all getting older. But innovation truly is occurring more rapidly. I've worked in Oracle for 25 years, and I can safely say I can see more new functionality and capability emerging in a month than used to come out in a whole year. It's accelerating. And there's very good reasons for this. Firstly, innovation increasingly comes from teams solving problems. There are very few problems in this sophisticated world which can be solved by an individual working alone. It's teams working together. And we can form teams more quickly now than ever before. We can use single instance HR systems. We can use social media systems inside our enterprises to rapidly identify individuals who've got a common interest, but complementing skills. Multidisciplinary, truly diverse teams solve problems. And it's easier to create and disband now than ever before. Now, to be effective, these teams to innovate need to speak the same language and have collaboration tools. The same concept, what's a customer, what's a product, what's our process, allows us to share information and solve problems and innovate. But there's a third vital component in really accelerating innovation. It's a laboratory, somewhere you can test a hypothesis. Would this work? Would that work? If I change this, would it be better or would it be worse? Now, these laboratories no longer need to be glass test tubes and white coats. They can be data laboratories, pulling together historical and current information, huge volumes allowing me to test and slice and dice, find insights. You might call it a data mart, a data warehouse, but they're a vital component of innovation. Put together, smart teams quickly, diverse and multidisciplinary, ensure they can talk the same language of the organization, and give them a laboratory to play in. And you have an explosive combination for innovation. But there's more. These techniques have been used particularly in Singapore and in San Francisco, focused on the technologies themselves, innovating the very technologies which help us innovate, focused on technology, turning a linear progression into an exponential one of faster than ever invention and creation of new technologies as these teams work faster and faster to find better solutions to problems. It's an upward spiral, and it's making us wonder, once again, what's possible? Everything is up for grabs with all of this new capability. Try this exercise. Think of some things of value in your life which you would pay money for. Music, perhaps, listening to music, medical advice. The list will be long of the things for which you would pay, which give you value. Now, for each one of these, we can ask the question, given this innovation, given these new capabilities emerging every day, could that value be created in a different way? Could it be created more quickly and more cheaply? Could it be created by somebody else? Could the value be delivered, giving new technologies, in a different way? Could somebody else deliver that value more cheaply and more efficiently? This is giving us the biggest opportunity for decades. We move from a world of vinyl records delivering music through retail stores to listening to music streamed from servers in Palo Alto. Medical advice no longer given by old men with leather bags and medicines and a head full of experience, instead being delivered from artificial intelligence servers to the computer in our hand. The opportunity is enormous. Trillions of dollars to be exchanged for value are moving. Netflix and Spotify are only the beginning, as all of our businesses are disrupted because we can create and deliver value in new ways. And with that opportunity comes the challenge of capturing it and using it. And that challenge falls upon us, because all of us here share an interest, share a profession in the management and the use of information. Whether you're a line of business manager using information to streamline your business processes, whether you're a developer using information to create new applications, whether you're a buyer or seller or administrator of information, we all have our role to play in grasping this challenge. And the eyes of the world are upon us. CEOs look to us. I've got more packages to deliver than ever before, but I must use less fuel than ever before. The answer will be in the use of information to optimize my logistics. Government leaders must deliver more healthcare to more people using less resource. The answer will be us. The use of information to deliver, create and deliver that value. The eyes of the world are on us. And we all have our role to play. Oracle's role has been consistent. For nearly 3 decades, we create the tools to allow you to manage your information more effectively. We create the tools to allow you to manage your information more effectively so you're able to focus on your business, your customers, your partners, and innovate in your industry. Now, these tools may come in the form of business applications, complete end-to-end processes. They may come in the form of a platform, as we'll discuss more today, storing and securing the information. It may come in the form of the underlying infrastructure, the chips and the disks, which actually store the electronic representation of the data. And all of these have been made available both in the ability to buy them and install them yourself, or to have them as a service from the cloud. But there is so much more. And the innovation process I was speaking of has also been happening with these information tools. They are progressing and developing at an exponential rate. And if it is our job to meet the challenge of harnessing disruption, if it is our job to ensure that we can create and deliver value in new and more efficient ways, surely it's important that we are fully aware of all of the tools we have at our disposal. And so I'd like to take you on a virtual tour of the development organization of a Silicon Valley titan, Oracle. It's been around for 30 years and more. And it's been listening to the voices of hundreds of thousands of enterprise customers all that time. It's heard CEOs saying, I can't afford a data breach. It's not a matter of firing somebody when there's a data breach. It's a matter of the company going down. We listen to DBAs who say it was fun managing 300 users and 25 terabytes. 24/7 management of petabytes and millions of users is no longer fun. We hear these voices, we hear these questions, and we do all we can do, which is to innovate and create new capabilities to meet these problems. Now, if we're going to go on a virtual tour, it's always great to have a tour guide along, somebody who really understands the terrain, who's hopefully native to the area, to help us as we wind our way through the development organizations within Oracle. Now, I've managed to find just the right person to help us on our tour. He was skateboarding in the streets of Redwood City before it was a city, and literally watched the emerald towers of the Oracle buildings grow out of the reclaimed land in San Francisco Bay. He then joined that company, and he rose to become the Senior Vice President of our cloud business worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my bro, Steve Daheb. Hey, Steve. I thought now you're our SVP tour guide. I thought you need some of the tools of the trade to help us on our way.
I had a hard time finding my way to the show here. I was actually hoping this was a stop sign so I could get you to stop talking for a second, but
let's hold up to each other.
Yeah, I wasn't that lucky, but
let's hold up to each other
maybe
as
next
we
time.
go.
Yeah.
Okay then, Steve. So listen, we're going to set off on our first leg of the trip. We're going to go down to the airport. We're going to get on SQ318, which many of you will know is not actually a flight over to your part of the woods yet, Steve, because that takes us to London. We're going to come down into London Heathrow, London town, where the air is a little bit cooler than here, although the political temperature is just a little bit higher right now. But we're going to leave London town behind us, and we're going to go up the River Thames, 8 miles or so, and we're going to find ourselves in a town called Reading, because it's within Reading that we'll find some of the key groups of our application development team, as you well know, Steve. Now, this team has been working hard for decades as well, from the early days of business applications, green screens, entering transactions, reading reports, and so on. They've turned business applications into tools which allow you to be fully informed of what's going on within the organization, tools which allow you to be engaged and effect change right across the globe and to be highly productive. But more recently, again, this team has accelerated innovation. They've been embedding artificial intelligence into applications. Business applications will never be the same again. They become smart, and it can't go back down. We don't want it to. Instead of being systems which are largely passive, which we'll ask of reports and enter data, intelligent business applications will use machine learning, or do use machine learning, to guide us, to suggest optimum paths forward given a context. Intelligent business applications are the future. So Steve, perhaps we can open that revolving door through into the buildings in Reading, and maybe you could begin by giving us some examples of where we're using artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
Within these
first, just let me say, when you think about emerging technologies, they're really permeating every aspect of work and life, right? From self-driving cars to precision agriculture to personalized medicine to smart cities that are changing the way we interact with the world around us. And we're at this incredible tipping point now, that moment after which unstoppable change occurs, where we're seeing enterprises actually adopt emerging technologies now faster than the consumers, right? And our role is we've done the hard work to take these emerging technologies, whether it's machine learning or IoT or blockchain or digital interfaces, and integrate it into the solutions that we offer our customers as a feature to drive real business outcomes, right? So we've done that hard work for you. You don't need 10 PhDs in a laboratory to help you do machine learning-based applications or do self-driving autonomous databases. This is what we've done. So let me give you an example with respect to applications, right? The first thing we've done is we've embedded machine learning, again, to all of our applications. And again, this is a game changer. We believe the future is autonomous and that 100% of applications will include some form of machine learning. It's integrated into our ERP, which allows you to automate discounting based on market financials. It allows you for supply chain to automatically identify the best freight shipment costs. Think about human resources. It's a game changer. I have a position to hire. I can create a profile out of all the people in my organization who've been successful in that role, what their background was, what their tenure was, what was their education like. And based on that, I can create a profile and I can apply it to thousands of applicants and say, here are the 5 people you should call first. That's game changing, right? That's time you get back. That's finding the best candidates faster than the competition. And then from a marketing perspective, whether it's sales, service, or support, it's understanding our customers' needs better and giving them material, giving them content, things that they can respond to in a personal manner. And again, it's not just machine learning. We have a great example of where we've done this with IoT as well. So IoT integrated into our application that provides asset monitoring, it provides fleet monitoring, and then we're seeing this new world of the connected worker. Again, all Oracle taking these new emerging technologies and turning them into features that drive specific services for our customers. This is what we're doing different.
But both the underlying machine learning and the use of IoT, Steve, they're being applied to lots of different business applications. So in my definition, that's effectively a platform which is driving
it. It really is. And I think that's an important piece. And I think this is what really differentiates Oracle. At the end of the day, where do applications stop and platform begins? If I deploy an application in the cloud, is it orphaned and isolated by itself, or do I need to connect that back to what I have on-prem? Integration comes to play. If I want to connect hybrid data on-prem with multi-cloud, analytics comes into play. How do I secure that? So all these pieces work together, right? The platform allows you to connect, to orchestrate, to extend and enrich the capabilities of the applications, including things like adding blockchain or IoT or digital assistants. We can get insights spanning multiple applications and multiple data. And with integrated machine learning, again, it's not just getting answers to questions we ask. It's getting answers to questions we didn't even think to ask. And that's really the power of what we're doing. And then ultimately, as we move to cloud, as we connect multiple clouds, and as we connect our legacy on-prem environments with new cloud applications, we need to be able to secure in this hybrid and multi-cloud way.
So, Steve, when we opened up, we said we wouldn't only talk about what these technologies are and what they do, but how they're actually being put to use. I wonder if we can have some examples on our tour.
Yeah, let me walk through this. We are having thousands of customers today, and many of them in the room with us, that are using Oracle applications to really drive new business outcomes, change the way they engage with the market, change the way they innovate, and drive business growth, and really change not only how businesses run, but also how people work and live. So I want to give a couple of local examples. This is Asia Commercial Bank. They're a leading corporate and consumer ASEAN bank. They're really focused on innovation. They're improving transparency and speed of service and accuracy by deploying Oracle ERP Cloud. Not only did they get all those benefits, but they reduced the IT and support costs by almost 2/3, 66%. And they also have the benefit of accelerating monthly close by 50%. The next local example is Baja. They're an India-based manufacturer, 2 billion products, and they sell through 400,000 retailer outlets. They consolidated multiple financial reporting systems to Oracle ERP and EPM Cloud. They gained a 50% reduction in reporting time. I mean, just sort of a massive improvement while enabling greater scalability. And they also achieved better insights into controls. One I want to share with you is actually a global example. This is Mitsubishi Electric, and they are doing automation for 10,000 daily orders. And this is sort of a great example of when we talk about the power of the platform. They're using AI, they're using IoT, they're using SaaS, and they're using platform as a service from Oracle. And what do they see? A 60% increase in operating rate. They saw a 55% decrease in manual processes. And we understand how flooring and space, commercial real estate can be very expensive. They saw an 85% reduction in floor space. This is a great story, the first of many we're going to share with you. Let's hear from Mitsubishi Electric.
At Mitsubishi Electric, we are positioned really at the top end of industrial automation. It's data intensive. You're really trying to collect all this data, analyze it, and do something with it. Downtime costs some of our customers millions of dollars a minute. The Oracle Cloud Platform with the Oracle Cloud applications is really the key component in bridging not only artificial intelligence, but also process automation. There's been a ton of benefits. Uptime, that's been up 60%. Production has been up 30%. Our manual processes are down 55%. Reduction in floor space, that was 85%. Those are huge numbers. Before it was like hope and pray that we can get products out the door, but really have the moment when you're sitting in front of the customer and now you can actually poke your chest out and say, yes, I know exactly what you need, I have exactly what you want, and I have a factory that can produce that in X amount of days or X amount of hours.
I love that guy.
Wow, that's a fantastic video, Steve. To hear these figures, savings both in money and savings in floor space, and being able to go confidently to your customer and say, I know what you need, and I've got what you need is quite superb. Let's continue our tour, Steve. So now we're going to get into a plane. We're back in London Heathrow from the applications team. And now we're going to fly over very close to the North Pole, over the north of Canada, Hudson Bay, and we're going to land at SFO, San Francisco International Airport, not far from your hometown now, Steve. And we're going to go down, south down the 101, and we're going to see these big Oracle towers. That's, of course, the headquarters and the home of that database development group run by Andy Mendelsohn. Yeah. Now, these guys, too, have been very busy, and especially of late, Steve, they're dealing in the world of data explosion. We all know, we've heard endlessly, how data is, of course, the new oil and how it drives our modern digital economy. But we also know that unlike oil, data, of course, is more useful the more people use it, and the more useful the more it is used. And that puts some strain on the infrastructure which actually manages that data. And unfortunately, data is relatively easy to steal, so it needs to be kept hyper-secure and hyper-scalability. That's okay if it's a few terabytes, a few hundred users. It can start to become just too much of a burden as it explodes. If we can't somehow more efficiently and more securely manage our data, we'll actually throttle the entire process of innovation. So maybe we need a new way of managing data. Maybe it's time data actually stood on its own 2 feet and managed itself. Enter the concept of the autonomous database. I can safely say, in 25 years in Oracle, this is the most striking innovation that we have created. The Oracle Autonomous Database can drive itself, can install, configure, and tune itself. Given its workload, it'll learn the workload, and it'll tune itself. It'll build the right index. It'll move the data to the right places to optimize its performance. It'll secure itself. It's awake 24/7. It'll learn the typical patterns of data access, what's normal, who accesses which data from where and when. And of course, the more it learns, the more it will be able to automatically spot outliers, oddities, possible hacking. And of course, it can apply patches itself as well when they're needed, 24/7. And God forbid anything does go wrong, it can self-repair. It can find its backups and make sure that it restores itself effectively. Now, Steve, these are really effectively the features and the functions of an autonomous database, but how does that translate into really using it within the organization?
Several real benefits that come out of these category sort of identifiers, one that Oracle's created. First, again, is this idea of reducing cost. And this idea of now that it self-drives, it self-secures, it self-manages, it tunes itself, I can reduce the time I spent on administrative costs by up to 80%. By up to 80%. Also, as it automatically scales storage and compute cycles when needed and then scale them down when you don't. And we'll hear a great customer example of that. You can save up to 70% of the ongoing runtime costs. So there's amazing benefits with respect to cost reduction. The other thing, again, it allows you to reduce risk, right? From that self-patching perspective, there are real costs associated with breach. The breach themselves, shareholder value, reputational loss. Let me give you a really interesting stat. I'll give you 2 numbers. 85%. In 85% of the cases where a breach occurred, there was a patch that was already available before that breach happened. So now think about the power of self-patching and reducing risk. Also, just one other number, 100%. 100% is the times you have to be right if you're doing security on your own, right? Bad guys only have to get it right once, right? So having a system that can self-patch and help identify and remediate threats automatically, leveraging machine learning,
So important, Steve.
is a game changer.
I can't imagine anything worse. It's bad enough waking up in the morning and finding out there's been a breach, but can you imagine then finding out that a patch was available and you hadn't applied it?
That's
Nightmare.
yeah, that would be. And yeah, I would definitely be into the touring business.
You'd
at
be a
that
tour
point.
guide by then, for
That
sure.
sign's going to come in handy. And then the last part is, again, sort of, we talked about time savings. Again, that time could be spent focusing on innovation. So you shift the resources to higher value tasks, things that mean the most to your business. Productivity, insights, customer engagement, innovation. That's what you free up to do. And so it's really exciting in terms of that. And then I'll say, when you sort of look at the appeal of autonomous database, it appeals to all lines of businesses. It appeals to all ranges of IT. From a finance perspective, we're using data more and more, right? 75% of the time is spent on analytics today, where it wasn't years ago. 90% of marketers use data to create actionable insights and connect in ways that wasn't possible before, right? 2/3 of sales guys, the best salespeople, are using analytics to help them research and identify customers before they engage. And then we're just seeing this explosion in HR data. And then from an IT perspective, again, people are doing this on their own. Over 70% of the time is spent on maintenance versus innovation. How do we flip that status quo? How do we flip that? Almost half of the DBAs manage 50 or more databases themselves. And then at the end of the day, over 95% of them are doing all that administrative work, right? So it's a real challenge that autonomous technologies from Oracle help solve.
It's available in 2 flavors. Many of you will be well aware the Oracle database has always served all needs. But in the case of autonomous, we've actually got a choice of use here. It's tuned either to be an autonomous data warehouse, largely oriented towards read tasks, loading warehouses within seconds, or data mart, as I described earlier, helping innovation. But it's now also available in the transaction processing capability, our traditional OLTP capability. Self-driving, self-repairing, self-securing, autonomous capability for OLTP as well. Now, Steve, it strikes me that this is an inevitability. We look at the need for data to help us with machine learning, to harness this disruption. It's going to explode. We'll have to do it in a different way. It has to be data looking after itself. Yeah. This is obvious. Surely when my grandchildren are running around in Singapore making use of the services here, they'll all be served by autonomous databases, surely.
Don't count on it if it's not Oracle. So I think that's the thing that we need to understand, that Oracle's got a unique lead in this area. And let me tell you, because there really is a secret sauce with respect to the autonomous database. First, we're talking about decades, thousands of engineering years worth of database optimization, from 10G automated memory management to the latest advances in 18C. So this is something that Andy's team, as we mentioned, have been doing for many years. And then you take that and you add a policy-driven machine learning engine on top of that. But then foundational to all of this is an infrastructure that was purpose-built to drive machine learning, AI, cloud-native, HPC workloads. So it's all these three things together that really allow us to deliver autonomous database. You can't just take machine learning, drop it on an open source database, run it on Amazon, and think you're going to get this capability. You just won't.
It's not a trivial piece of engineering. Andy Mendelson's been there pretty much since the start of the database, and he's still there developing the autonomous one now. It's not going to be easy to replicate Andy Mendelson, that's for sure. So, same as before, Steve, at this stop in the tour, that's what the technology does. Can we get some examples of how people are really putting it to good use?
It's been really exciting to see the examples of really the real outcomes that people are getting from autonomous already. I just mentioned a couple, and then I want to talk about some local examples. You have a company like Hertz. I think we all know them very well. They said it would take them 2 weeks to provision a database, and now they can do it in 8 minutes. So think about the time you get, and now the time they can focus on differentiating, on customer service, right, on being more competitive in the market, on really revolutionizing their industry. Companies like CERN that are using this for their rich discovery, a partner like Accenture who tested autonomous database. Again, it's not only self-patching, it's not only self-securing, but they found it to be 14 times faster than anything else out there in the market. So this is a real game changer. Some great local examples. We had a great press event yesterday and had a chance to hear from many of these customers. We'll hear more towards the end of the presentation as well. King Gold is a luxury real estate developer, and they continue to expand in new markets. They're using ADW to analyze multiple factors when they decide which properties to acquire. Is it close to schools? Is it close to transportation system? They're able to pull together 100 million listings and look at them almost real time. And then they're able to strategically reduce their financial planning from 12 minutes, and again, to 41 seconds. So you're talking about real-time insights into a fast-moving market. And again, this benefit of their IT, data analysts, don't have to spend time maintaining the database. They spend the time on getting the rich data out of it. Right? So we have another one. FortSmart is a fintech company. They're actually converting cash to digital currency in 120 different vending machines. They're focused on rural areas where people don't have access to physical retail banks, but you still want to be able to get them currency. They're using ADW to analyze 2 million transactions real time. They saw up to 200, it's not a typo, 200x query performance with the self-tuning, self-driving capabilities. And again, their team now is focused on higher value tasks. One global example I want to share is data intensity. So they are an Oracle partner specializing in ERP, mission-critical applications. They have to provide 24/7 support. Moving to Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse, they saw a 10x increase in provisioning. They saw a 5 times increase in performance on-prem. Now think about this. We used to think, oh, what's going to be the problem? If I move to cloud, I'm probably not going to get the same performance. They're talking about getting 500% performance increase by moving to the cloud. And they did all this with no downtime and zero administrative involvement, right? That real promise of autonomous database. Let's hear from data intensity.
Data Intensity decided to use the Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse Cloud to solve a problem we had around finance and financial reporting. Our finance team were probably spending 60% of the time just getting the data out of systems, and therefore only for the remaining 40% generating value back to the business. We chose Autonomous because it was quick, easy, solved a lot of problems for us, and really suited our agile development. Some of the main benefits we got from implementing the Autonomous Data Warehouse Cloud was an initial saving of nearly $250,000. We're now seeing users getting page refreshes 4 to 5 times faster than they were before, and we're running on 10 times less hardware than we were previously. The flexibility of the Autonomous Data Warehouse Cloud is amazing. During financial reporting periods, end of quarter, end of year, we can scale the solution up to provide huge performance. The rest of the time, we scale it back down and we're barely paying anything. The biggest compliment we can pay the Autonomous Data Warehouse is we don't administrate the database. The Autonomous Warehouse and Oracle Analytics Cloud have allowed us to put a much greater user community together. We have about 10 times the users accessing the system we used to do, and all of those are driving value rather than just spending their time getting data out of the system.
Wow. I have to say, Steve, you know, there's been a lot of customer testimonials over the years. These are really quite extraordinary. Did you hear 10 times less hardware, page refreshes, and 5 times the speed? This thing really...
Scale up when you need it, scale it down when you don't.
Really
Cost
works.
savings.
Quite an extraordinary and striking technology. Well worth a look. Let's continue our tour. Now we're going to stay in a car. We're going to stay on the ground this time, and we're going to drive over the Golden Gate Bridge through Northern California. We're going to avoid all the temptations in Napa Valley. And we're going to work our way up to Seattle, because it's in Seattle that our most recently formed development team exists, called OCI, the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Team. It's our final stop in the development tour. Now, I don't know how many Wi-Fi or electricity points there are within this building. It's a lot. None of them would be there if it wasn't for the fabric of the building. And of course, the building itself wouldn't be standing if it wasn't for firm foundation. Obvious. Obvious. So why is it that in IT, so often, we seem to be prepared to build enormously elaborate structures on less than certain foundation or infrastructure? It's not good. It won't stand a shake. That worries an organization like Oracle, serving hundreds of thousands of enterprises around the world. We know that the foundation, the infrastructure, must be strong, resilient, and reliable and secure if it's to support the elaborate structures on top. Now, we looked at existing architectures. We realized that most architectures from competing clouds were in nothing more than enterprise architectures that just been blown up like a balloon. So rather than do that in a world of hyperscale and hypersecurity, Oracle took a very bold decision. I have to say, it was a brave decision, to go to a white piece of paper and design a new cloud architecture from the start, from scratch, hardware and software. That's OCI. At its heart, OCI has been built to be fundamentally secure. The processors and computing and memory which are associated with running the cloud are physically separate from those which we would use as cloud users. So if you're using the cloud compute and memory, you just can't access the control plane. And if you're using the control plane, if you're managing the cloud, you can't get to people's data and processes. Sure. Fundamentally secure. It's been designed from scratch to be super scalable, very highly performant, using all the latest network and processing capability. And we're so confident, having now designed a true cloud architecture, that we can invest much more broadly in data centers throughout this region. The infrastructure, Steve, is core to the Generation 2 cloud. Yeah. So OCI is part of the Gen 2 cloud. But there is more to a cloud, of course, than just the compute and the storage. Many more elements.
Let me talk to that and talk about Gen 2 and the capabilities we're delivering to market. You know, I've been thinking about this a lot, and if you think about traditional infrastructure, if you think about cloud version 1.0, I'm moving something from my storage to now your storage. I'm moving something running from my compute to your compute. And at the end of the day, there's savings there. I get out of the data center costs, but it's still kind of status quo to me. I mean, it's not about just moving my data. It's once I moved it, what do I do with it? Right? How do I integrate these emerging technologies to do something different in my business? I can save costs, but I'm really innovating in new ways. Am I communicating in new ways? Am I creating exceptional experiences for customers, for employees? No. So this is where you sort of get into these other tools you can use. From an app dev perspective, we offer a full range from container native to serverless. We talked about blockchain and AI. Integration where we connect data from multiple sources. We can connect multiple clouds. Analytics, so it's not just about collecting the data, it's about preparing the data. It's about applying machine learning and visualization tools to get those insights. We talked about security, and understand security has changed. You know, we are no longer protected by the four walls of the enterprise. Our identities are the new perimeter. And you have to protect at the user level. You have to protect at the application level with access control and user rights. You have to encrypt data at rest. And then to your point, you have to have this foundational infrastructure that allows you to protect it. And as we talked about, I think core to Generation 2 Cloud is our autonomous database.
Absolutely. So Steve, while we're still here in Seattle with the OCI team, let's do what we did in the last two tour locations as well. Can we have a look at some customers who are actually using that infrastructure?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see what customers are doing with this and the results they're seeing. A couple to mention here, see FireEye. FireEye is a security company that processes and secures millions of emails a day. They moved to OCI and they saw a 2.5 times performance increase while also reducing their disaster recovery costs by 50%. So again, these seemingly sort of competing forces, right? I'm able to increase performance while reduce risk, you know, and at the same time save cost. OceanX is a company that was actually on a competitor. They were on Amazon, and they shifted off of AWS, and they found a 10x performance increase. Some great local examples, there's Partech Star Group. They're a large Bangladeshi conglomerate, you know, 20 manufacturing and service companies. This was actually a movement of Oracle e-Business Suite and databases to run on OCI. And again, with that, they were able to scale without capital investment growth, right? Expanded when they needed it, do that instantly. And again, now they're in a position where they have zero downtime for more than 1,000 active users of EBS. Finally, a global case study we'd like to share with you. This is Cisco. They created a hybrid cloud protection platform using AI and machine learning. This, again, was one that they actually started out on AWS, and it could not meet their needs, and they moved to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Through that, they saw a 15x improvement in CPU utilization, and again, believe it or not, like a 60x performance improvement versus what they were able to do on-prem. Doing things today that weren't possible just years ago. Again, let's please hear from Cisco.
Customers started asking us, what if we could actually get Titration as a service? And that really drove our search for a public cloud where we could host Titration. Titration is a workload protection platform. We protect workloads that either run on private data centers or in the cloud. Before OCI, we were running on 2 of the leading cloud providers. The challenge that we were facing there was our CPU utilizations were low. What we started observing was we got about 3 to 5% CPU utilization. What this meant was we were spinning up more VMs to boost up the performance that we were getting out of our whole hosted solution. It meant costs were going up and we were transferring these costs back to our customers. So this really made us look for, okay, there has to be a better way to do this. On OCI, what we observed was using X7 platforms, we were getting about 75% CPU utilization steady. It drove our solution cost down and we could transfer these savings back to our customers. We also, on our X7 platforms inside OCI, we were getting about 2.5 times the performance that we got even as compared to our on-premise appliances. So that was a huge surprise. With OCI, we've been able to run a high-performance compute platform in the cloud. This wasn't possible 4 years ago.
Once again, Steve, quite striking. So it's great seeing the numbers, 60x performance, but it translates into being able to do things that we just couldn't do years ago.
A few short years ago.
So I hope you've enjoyed the tour. We're seeing the applications development, the platform development team, and the infrastructure development team, and in particular, some of our customers who have been using these technologies. But we've gone one further than just looking at videos, and I'm delighted to say we've got customers who will be able to join us live on the stage and talk about their experiences using our technologies.
Yeah, we're really excited, thankful that they're joining us here today, supporting this event. It's always better to, I mean, while I love hearing Andrew speak, it's always better to hear from customers than Andrew. Trust me, I have to listen to him way too much. But what I'd like to do is actually introduce some of our first speakers. So the first company we're going to hear from is Maxim's. They're really revolutionizing the food industry. They're based in Hong Kong, 70 restaurants, representing bakery brands, 1,300 outlets throughout Asia. They use the e-business suite with autonomous database. So again, SaaS platform as well as autonomous database to provide sales performance and analytics, really empowering their business unit users to support ad hoc queries and really enabling a diverse set of analytics tools across a wide range of businesses. Please join me in welcoming Ki Su, the CFO of Maxim. Thank you so much for making the time. I really appreciate the commitment your team has made to join us this week. Can you tell us about autonomous? And we know you're an early adopter. You've been using it today, trialing. How is it helping you in your business?
Well, as you have mentioned, that we have about 1,300 outlets, and with more than 70 brands in our portfolio. It's very in different business format. We have ranging from the fine dining, casual dining, fast food, cake shop, coffee shop, and all that. Also, we serve about for the Chinese cuisine, Western, Japanese, and all that. Besides that, we also have the food factories in our portfolio, which is we do the backup central kitchen for our business as well. So it's very complicated in different format, and then we have. By the way, we are serving the customers every day.
Yeah.
And then that in Hong Kong, we have about 600,000 transactions every day. Yeah. That's just for Hong Kong. If we are including the other areas like the China, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Singapore,
analyzing all those transactions.
Yes, all together it's about more than 800,000 transactions every day. So this data is very valuable to us. It's actually including the sales data from our consumers' spending patterns, the sales data, the mix, and all that. And I think that this is really important to us because we need to understand more about our customer behavior, the consumer spending pattern, and all that, such that we can do a lot more in improving our business performance.
And you're saying, I know it's a complicated environment.
That's right, yeah.
Multiple regions, multiple models, multiple data formats,
That's
multiple applications. And you're taking all this and you're leveraging autonomous database to collect all of this data, create a single data warehouse or multiple data warehouses and analyze it to get those insights to your customers.
Yes, that's correct. And actually, based on that, with the ERP, with our the ADW as well as the Analytic Cloud from Oracle, we are trying to understand more about our consumer behavior as well as the store performance. And we need to know more about that by doing some more business analysis and also the accurate reporting, based on that. So it's actually we must have one solution that can allow us to do something more and then to react to our business challenge and all that every day.
Dan, thank you so much. Everyone, please give Keith a big round of applause. Thank you for joining us. Great story. Again, just a great example of, again, companies using autonomous today and getting real business benefits. And I know you have another one.
I do indeed, Steve. Thank you very much. Our next guest is from Fadata. Many of you may well know of Fadata. They are the primary electronic document signing organization in China. My goodness, these guys know how to scale. They deliver electronic document signing capability and also associated judicial and legal advice. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Sherry Jin. Thank you so much for joining us, Sherry. Thank you very much indeed. Now, Sherry, you've had the Autonomous Data Warehouse since end of last year, around about November time, and I know you've been using that a great deal. Can you tell us some of the benefits that you've seen from deploying these technologies?
Yes, as Fadata is a startup company, Since we're using ADW, now we are able to unblock the date of the power as we have massive of the date. And also through ADW now, we are able to gain insights of our business, which just helped us to transform the way we operate. And now we are able to improve our sales, business development, and market strategy through certain kind of targeted campaigns. All this helped us free up the time, resources, and also has resulted in the reduction in our cost. It's especially important for startup company. And also, this in return, we can have more time to focus on our product development.
This is absolutely key, isn't it? So as well as all the technical benefits, by using autonomous capability, it's key that you can free up time. You get more brain time of people
Yes,
to be able to focus on the business itself.
Absolutely.
What sort of things have you been able to do in your business then, now you've freed up that time and resource?
Yes. Because for us, the marketing is heavily saturated currently, and we always want to avoid of the price war and also want to thrive in the current market. So in order to achieve this, we have to always gain insights to make sure we always stay one step ahead of our customers. Now we have achieved this. Through ADW, we now can provide some kind of certain service to customers to reach this target. Some kind of what we're doing is we can offer is user profile analysis and consumption forecast. And also, we are still carry on working with Oracle, and we believe on the support we're going to gain more innovation solution for our customer in the future.
I hope so. Sherry, thank you so much for joining us on stage.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sherry Jin, thank you so much. And I really think a very key and important message in there. It's humans who innovate. It's humans who create new ideas. And if we can free time through the use of these information management tools and autonomous tools, we can innovate more. Steve, I know we've got another customer.
The last one, it's a really exciting story. This is National Pharmacies. They're located in Australia. They serve over 350,000 registered members, another 600,000 in total across 100 stores. They consolidated multiple order management systems using Oracle Cloud infrastructure. They empower staff and members with real-time insights using ADW as well as ATP. So again, another customer that spans applications as well as infrastructure as well as autonomous database. Saw an incredible savings in their budget, cutting it in half so they could focus on better outcomes for those they serve. And I wish we had an hour with them. I know we only have a few minutes, but please join me in welcoming Ryan Klaus to the stage. Ryan, how are you? Thanks so much again. Ryan, I had a chance to meet at the press event yesterday too, and it's such a good story. I know there's so much to talk about, but maybe hit a couple of the key pieces. First with respect to the business operations, autonomous database, how that played a role into what you're doing today, and how's it affecting real operational outcomes for you?
Yeah, so our story really started where we started to embrace the digital strategy a little bit. We embraced the digital consumer and the digital patient, and that put us on a journey immediately to get into multi-channel engagement. Now, what that led to us, Steve, is that we started our organisation with employees of 1,000, and this multi-channel took us to 300,000 users.
Wow.
We needed the ability to continue a personal relationship with our typical customers that came in store. But when you've got 300,000 users playing on the digital platform, you really have to work that personal story.
Yeah.
So for us to mine that data, to get that decision making, we needed the power of platforms to get there. There is a lot of data you've got to crunch from your transactions to your consumer and what you gained in your last conversation. In short, the retail and healthcare is quite simple. It's about connecting a person with a product or a solution. We took a look at that and we said, well, let's look at our products and organisation. We range in our 100 stores about $45 million worth of working capital. Using Oracle's machine learning in ADW, we were able to look at some of the characteristics of our products, and based on the types of health prescriptions and the and the solutions consumers were coming in on to our stores, we were able to reposition and optimize our stock. And we went by right product, right stock, right place. And that allowed us to save $7 million of working capital in our stores by simply moving stock to the locations where our consumers will come in to consume that. In addition to that, I talked about our personalisation a little bit in our marketing. We engage our members on a path to purchase, and that's really about getting the effectiveness of marketing and getting their advertising and their offers connected to the conversion.
Well, let's talk about the people then. I think that's amazing. And sort of talked about the operational aspects, but I think a really important part of what you do is, you know, you're serving patients. You're sort of connecting them to, you know, the care they need in order to get better. So can you talk about how you change that experience for really those you serve, your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just say with digital, we had a problem. We became digitally blind. We became blind to what was going on, and we needed a cure, and for us the cure was data. And with that, when a member or a patient walks into our store, we would like the healthcare person or the employee to have a relationship moment. Either if it's in healthcare, we would like our healthcare workers to be connected to why they're in store, what is their story, what did they purchase before, and have that personal conversation that what they've always enjoyed over many years. In addition to the consumer, we would like to maximise what was the consumer doing before they came into the store? Were they on our website? Did they click on something? So when the employee walks up to this particular consumer, they have the intelligence to make that decision.
Really, it's a personalized experience.
And absolutely. And we've been able to achieve a lot of machine learning and the crunching of data at these speeds using ADW.
Great, Ryan. Thank you so much. Please thank Ryan for joining me on stage. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let me just say, it's, you know, we had a chance to go through the story, you know, what Oracle's offering today. And I thought we saw amazing examples of how emerging technologies are really changing the world around us. And I think no better person to do it with than my best friend here, Andrew. We give each other a lot of stuff, but I love him. And no better place to do it than Singapore. I mean, when you look around, when you walk around here, just sort of what you see in terms of the technology integrated, you know, changing how people work, changing how people live, you know, and ultimately, you know, changing how we interact with the world around us. And so for us, we've had a chance to do this multiple times around the globe, but no better place to do it than here.
Absolutely, Steve. What a fantastic place for our final leg. Come back round the other way around the world from San Francisco to land back here in really the core and the hub of innovation in so many ways. I hope you enjoyed seeing our customers live. There's more to follow. Amanda Jobbins will have a customer panel immediately after this. So I hope you've enjoyed our tour. Steve, I've just had the tour company on the phone. They've said, sorry, you failed as a tour guide, but they will give you a job as a cabin service attendant, if you like. That's coming your way.
You.
I hope you've enjoyed the tour, and most importantly, we've given you a chance to see that Oracle is trying to provide for you a path into the future. It's going to be lumpy and bumpy, of course it is, but smooth a path as possible. And key to this is don't throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to innovation. You can leverage your existing IP, leverage your existing knowledge, leverage your existing systems in coexistence. And I hope that we've been able to show that we've embedded intelligence at every layer so you can free up time and resource and engage in that vital activity of innovation. On any trip, including your one into the future, it's always important to have some sort of guide or partner to come along with you. Partner who knows the terrain, knows what's going on. It would be an honor and a privilege for all of us in Oracle if you would choose us as your traveling partner on your journey into the future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your attention this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.